The Roaring Twenties was a period of economic prosperity. Jazz music became very popular, and women redefined the modern look of their lifestyles and were given the nickname flappers. A flapper is basically a woman who was considered unladylike. She wore short skirts and was smoking cigarettes. And I got that off of history.com. This time period also saw the large scale development and changed the way many people lived and acted. Not only this, but everybody had a voice when it came to voting. The Roaring Twenties was from 1923 to 1929, and not only were the people having a good time, but they changed our society in many different aspects. One, they affected economic Great Depression. Two, consumer society. And three, rise of culture and self-awareness. The 20s was a time to be alive. The stock market was booming, and this was very beneficial in the 20s because a few years later we would see the Great Depression. The people during this time what basically thought that the country was lawless. You know, they didn't have anything that they couldn't do. Well, later they noticed that they couldn't just run around. You know, the economy crashed and the government stepped in and implemented new laws. Well, for them this was a culture shock, but in today's society, it's not for us. It's normal for the government to be involved and be present. But for them, they weren't used to that, and so they had to change their ways to conform to the government. The consumer economy became a booming kind of business because with all the chain stores and widespread of goods and advertisements, people were just spending their money on alcohol, cigarettes, cars. They had just started being popular, phones, movies, and radios. And when all this started happening, people had money to spend, so they were going to spend it. I got that off of NIST.gov. After the economy crashed, new laws were implemented and changed many people's lives. Not only did it change physically, but it affected many people mentally. This began to affect not only the way people looked at the world, but themselves too. Basically, when all of this started happening and the Great Depression started coming around, people didn't know how to act. They were so used to going out and running around and doing whatever they wanted to, basically. Well, when the government stepped in, that was it. You know, they had to stop because people were out of money, people were losing jobs. And whenever they tried to get a regulation, you know, where voluntary labor and stuff, but people didn't want to do that. They wanted to go back to the old ways. Well, sexuality and self-examination entered popular thinking and really helped reshape everyday culture. They had an opinion and they knew what they wanted individually. You know, this gave them a time to reflect back and think about everything that they had been doing. Once the Great Depression hit, it raised backlash and changed many people. With the reawakening of the principles of individuals, it's really driven our culture, society, and economics, along with politics, since the beginning of the 20s throughout the Great Depression. And it still continues to change in today's society. The 20s was a very important era and developed ideas on large government and helped redefine the country that we live in today.